Who are you? I feel as though you've been here before. Ah, yes, I see. The wooden boy with the borrowed soul. My sister's folly. That sentimental fool! She gave you life, Pinocchio, when you were not supposed to have it. No more than a chair or a table should. As a result, you cannot truly die. Well, it means that you are not, nor will you ever be, a real boy like Carlo. The one thing that makes human life precious and meaningful, you see, is how brief it is. Don't get me wrong, you will die many times, this being one of them, but they are not real deaths, just waiting periods. There are rules, you see, despite my sister's disregard for them. We will both have to wait for the sand to run out. You will stay here with me a little longer each time you cross, until the end of time. I will simply send you back every time. See you next time. Ah, I see it. You are charged with a terrible burden. Life can bring great suffering, and eternal life can bring eternal suffering. But Pinocchio, what if you don't see your father again? Look, while you may have eternal life, your friends, your loved ones, they do not. Every moment shared with them may be the very last. You never know how long you have with someone until they're gone. You know the rules, Pinocchio. All the sand must fall before you can return. Rules are rules, and if we break them, there are dire consequences. If you were to go back now, so soon, you would become mortal. You might save Geppetto, but you will die, Pinocchio, and it will be your last life. Not me, wooden boy. Break the rules. Break them, if you're sure. Now go to your father, child, and make the most of it. You see, that right there was my impression of not the Blue Fairy, rather the Spirit of Death, who, if you haven't watched Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, well, I suggest you watch it first before coming to this video. But this is my impression of her, as I felt like she was the character that stood out to me the most, because she's basically the Grim Reaper. However, has a sort of biblically accurate angelic feel to her that makes her not that terrifying, as she's shown to be very wise and patient in her own way, but at the same time, she also serves as a blunt reminder that we all die someday, as per Memento Mori, right? But at the same time, she shows us how, death isn't something to be scared of, as long as you lived a fulfilling life, or at least made most of your life instead of wasting it, especially since, the themes of life and death, and even the concept of immortality is also used in this particular adaptation of Pinocchio, which I actually liked and suggest you watch on either Netflix or any movie theater that's available. Though I think there aren't any more movie theaters showing it, but oh well. And going back to what I was talking about in a previous random things I like to talk about video, where I talked about how I wanted to kind of adapt some of my stories into video games. Well, I talked about role-playing games, visual novels, or even point-and-click adventure games. Or another particular genre I forgot to add that I'd like to adapt my stories in was basically those fighting / beat-em-up games, like the kind you see from, say, Super Smash Bros. Or Skullgirls, or even, say, Cuphead. Though Cuphead's more of a shooting game, but it also has a lot of boss battles that are in a 2D platform, so what can you do? And maybe add elements of, say, Toho Project's, spin-off games, such as the Hopeless Masquerade, or even Urban Legend Limbo. And I guess, I guess it would be interesting to adapt my game such a way, and not just for the 2D platform, but also because I feel like it would tell a story better in a way, at least in a more linear fashion, especially compared to, say, like visual novels or regular adventure games. And I feel like adding combat will sort of spice up my story in a way, but that's just me. Sorry for the sudden and, say, abrupt change in videos, as I wanted to do one last, say, random things like to talk about video for this year. But don't worry, next Monday onward, up until, I guess, Christmas, like, I'll be continuing my, like, summaries and, you could say, elaborations on my Encanto X Coco series. So, like, don't wait too long, and I'll see you next week. So, around Monday, 9 a.m. as usual. So, thank you and have a good day.